Now, your source for local news. This is News Central on Fox 24.
Good evening and thanks for watching WGXA News at 10. I'm Raymond Tubb.
And I'm Tiffany Bradley. Our top story tonight is the dangerous weather. It's been a rough night already weather-wise here in central Georgia, with several thunderstorm warnings for counties north of Macon expiring just moments ago.
And that last round of lightning that hit Macon left its mark on us right here at our downtown studios. Take a look at this. This video was captured from our WGXA tower cam around 9 tonight. Thousands of lightning strikes were firing in from the sky per hour. It's a good thing we caught this video when we did, as a likely lightning bolt hit our camera shortly afterwards, knocking it out. For the very latest on the storm's track, here let's go to Storm Track WGXA Chief Meteorologist Jeff Cox standing by.
Yeah, Raymond, it looks like our tower cam has died an ugly death. The lightning was intense here in downtown Macon, and also the wind that came through in addition to the lightning, and some reports of small hail, and there is damage being reported tonight. Check this out, our damage reports. We've got wind damage right along the path of that severe weather that moved through from Washington County through Baldwin and Wilkinson counties, and then some trees down in Macon as well. We have fresh video from the scene that we'll show you in just a moment. First, though, let's tackle what's going on right now. Here's the latest look at the radar. And the worst is trying to exit Bibb County as we speak. There are no active warnings, officially nothing severe, but remember the definition of severe. You must have 1-inch hail or larger and winds in excess of 58 miles per hour. And at this time, that criteria is not being met. Having said that, we have strong storms out there that you would certainly want to seek shelter from. So again, it's that battle of strong and dangerous versus severe. So no warnings right now, but heavy rain continues from Eatonton to Monticello to Jackson, south to Forsyth, and just west of Gray. Gray, you're drying out, as is much of Macon and Bibb County. But off to the south and west, the worst of it now stretching from Yatesville and the Rock all the way south to Reynolds. This is moving to the west, so Thomaston to Butler, the worst is approaching you right now, and you certainly need to seek shelter from that thunderstorm activity. Also, a nasty night in parts of Dodge and Bleckley counties from Cochran to Eastman to McRae, a nasty line of thunderstorms. All of this, again, will be transitioning to the west, a little backwards today, so next in line for the threat of strong and dangerous thunderstorms would be Perry to Hawkinsville, and then, of course, Thomaston to Butler. We're watching the radar closely. We'll keep a close eye on this, and, of course, I'll have the latest coming up in about 10 minutes. Raymond and Tiffany?
Thanks, Jeff. Now, there are several ways you can get the latest severe weather information as it happens in your area. As
always, you can follow our coverage on WGXA on both Fox 24 and ABC 16. You can also visit our website at WGXA.tv. You can also like our Facebook page by searching WGXA.tv, and you can follow us on Twitter by following @WGXA News. It's a great way to keep up with us on your smartphone, even when the power goes out.
And Chief Meteorologist Jeff Cox will be back in just a few minutes with their full forecast.
Well, for more severe weather coverage, as you might guess, tonight's storms have left some feeling powerless, literally. Take a look at these images shot during the teeth of tonight's storm. This is video from Upper River Road in East Macon, where storms brought a tree limb down on a power line. Part of the tree split off and fell onto the ground, blocking one lane of Upper River Road. The rest of the tree was suspended on the power lines on the other side of the road. Macon police blocked traffic as crews from Georgia Power came to repair the lines and remove the trees.
And as you just saw, downed trees are wreaking havoc for local power providers who are reporting a number of outages. Take a look at this interruption map from Georgia Power. While there are sporadic reports of outages in Bibb and Wilkinson counties, it appears Baldwin County may be experiencing the worst so far. WGXA spoke to the Baldwin County Sheriff's 911 Center. They told us there are a number of trees down across the county and several traffic accidents tonight attributed to the weather. A lot of the damage is on the side of town near the Wilkinson County line, including Highway 24, Deep Step Road, and Gordon Highway. New at 10 tonight, authorities have announced 2 new arrests in a Telfair County murder case.
Today, deputies arrested a Ray couple in connection with concealing the death of Judy Murrow, a Tampa area woman whose body was found floating in the Ocmulgee River on July the 4th. Here are the mugshots of both suspects, 33-year-old Jamie Jackson Connor and Amy Lee Clark, both of an Eagle Road address in Ray. According to investigators, both played an active role in concealing the murder of Murrow. Her body was found by fishermen on the morning of July 4th near the Jacksonville boat landing in Telfair County.
Deputies first arrested 25-year-old Joshua Hilton days after finding Murrow's body. He's still being held in a Tampa area jail. As for today's arrest, both suspects are being held in the Telfair County Jail without bond. We have more details in today's cocaine bust that began as a routine traffic stop but ended with a taser blast and drug trafficking charges. Police say they arrested 39-year-old Trenton Harris this morning after spotting him and a child in a car not properly restrained. Police say Harris initially stopped for officers but then took off. He later jumped out of his car on Napier Avenue and ran away. Once he was caught by police, they tased him. He reportedly had 6 bags of powdered cocaine on him. He's in the Bibb LEC on a number of drug-related charges. Tonight, Macon police confirmed the child is 15 months old and the mother was in the car at the time of the incident. The child is in the care of its mother tonight.
New at 10, a large truck traveling down I-16 West ended up in a ditch on the side of the roadway tonight. It happened around 6 o'clock on the I-16 westbound lane or side between Segota Road and Okmulgee East Boulevard. An ambulance took the driver of the truck to the medical center. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office is investigating just what happened. As of now, the driver's condition is unknown.
National Night Out Against Crime is less than a month away.
And for Macon, it couldn't come at a better time. WGXA's Clinton Bourgeois tells you why.
To be able to move in and out of your community.
For Macon's Helen Vinson, National Night Out is more than just one night. For her Weaver Heights community, it's self-assurance.
Of the people who live there, we are mostly senior citizens.
On August 6th, Vinson and citizens across the country hope to experience 24 hours of peace.
We just don't want it to end in one night.
Sadly, youth and gang violence often resurfaces the next day.
To show the criminal element in the neighborhood that we won't tolerate it.
The problems didn't develop overnight, and neither will the solution. Sergeant Tim James of the Macon Police Department says a lot of times adults mistrust the youth, and they are sometimes misrepresented.
If the kids and the adults can come together in one atmosphere, one event, and get together and make the relationship a little bit better.
When you give respect, you get respect.
Vincent says the youth has to do their part too, but not only building a better relationship with the adults, but also law enforcement.
Understand their job and let the policemen understand what they are all about and the things that they are interested in doing.
And one way to rid crime in a neighborhood is for all those entities to come together.
Night Out Against Crime is set for August the 6th. Around 20 Macon-Bibb County communities are planning to participate. The citywide Night Out begins at 6 o'clock and lasts until 9. And if you have any questions about Night Out, you can call Sergeant Tim James at the number that you see on your screen.
The Macon-Bibb Consolidation Transition Task Force may now have a new identity.
After months of using both the city and county seal or nothing at all, the committee will have a logo of its own as it builds the new government. WGXA's Kristen Drummond shows you what they settled on.
A new Macon-Bibb Consolidated identity is underway. The Macon-Bibb Consolidation Transition Task Force presented these 2 logo styles to the Communication Committee. 7 different emblems with subtle differences.
We're wanting to show that both the city and the county are coming together.
Laws Committee Chairman Jeffrey Monroe says it's about branding. He and the Consolidation Committee want to identify the work they're putting forth as decisions are made about the new government. This logo with gears represents
cogs that are working together, kind of emphasizing, both the city and the county putting their combined efforts to getting this done.
While this one with the buildings,
stair-step city structures kind of moving to a higher plane, both indicating sort of moving forward, working together.
There may be a logo, but the group still has a larger task at hand, the new seal.
No talks yet about the seal, and I imagine that will probably come a little bit later down the road when some of the other meeting guts of other issues have been hammered out.
The current City of Macon seal showcases a man in a canoe with cotton on the Okmulgee River, bearing a phrase in Latin which translated states, "Let the body politic protect the halls, the customs, and the laws." That, according to Macon City spokesman Chris Floor. Meanwhile, Bibb County seal involves a trio of pillars with a man between them, accompanied with the words wisdom, constitution, justice, and moderation. It's unknown whether any of the previous symbology will carry over into the new consolidated seal. But some people have ideas of what they want to see on the new government seal.
I like the idea of cherry blossoms.
The river would be part of it.
Macon's musical heritage.
For now, the task force decided on this logo with one change. Macon-Bibb County lettering will be solid black instead of red and blue. It'll be used on the new website that will soon be revealed, giving the group overseeing government consolidation and identity.
When folks see this logo, they'll know that this is the group that's been charged with bringing those elements together.
Kristen Drummond, WGXA.
A grant from the Knight Foundation paid for the new logo, and a website with that logo is being developed with information about the consolidation transition.
We're less than a year away from the 2014 primaries as candidates jockey to replace retiring U.S. Senator Saxby Chambliss. And two sitting congressmen vying for the post have the largest campaign accounts so far. They are Jack Kingston and Phil Gingrey. Kingston setting the pace for new fundraising in the first 6 months of the year. The Savannah Republican raised more than $807,000 during the second quarter of this year, and it's the second consecutive quarter that Kingston topped $800,000 in contributions. The haul nearly helped him surpass Representative Phil Gingrey in remaining cash. The Marietta Republican raised $415,000 from March to June, but finished the quarter with $2.56 million. That's a few $1,000s ahead of Kingston. A third congressional Republican, Paul Brown from the Athens area, raised $338,000, but finished with only $400,000 in his accounts. Former Secretary of State Karen Handel, the most recent candidate to begin fundraising, has collected about $154,000. Coming up later tonight, protesters still marching against the George Zimmerman verdict and the Stand Your Ground law. Find out what a former president has to say on the issue.
Plus, next month's Rolling Stone cover star doesn't have any hit songs or famous movies, but he's recognized by everyone in the nation. That's coming up in a few minutes. But first, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Cox. What's the latest, Jeff?
We're still tracking dangerous storms, damage-producing storms. The latest on that, we'll look at the radar. We're tracking them right now for you. Stay tuned. All the details are coming up after this break. Well, what was a relatively calm day in central Georgia turned quite the opposite this evening. What were just a couple of thunderstorms really exploded coming out of Augusta, and they have led to severe weather and damage reports tonight. That's where we begin with. Notice the icons. This is wind damage on the map, and we've got trees reported down in parts of Washington County. Also, Baldwin County and Wilkinson County hit pretty hard tonight, and we have some trees and power lines down in parts of Bibb County, including in East Macon on Upper River Road. That's the video we showed you earlier this evening, and you can see the path of storms today from east to west, and they continue moving off to the west. In addition to the strong wind and the excessive lightning, the rain is heavy as well. Look at the rainfall total estimates, and quite a bit of blue on the map, especially here in Macon and Bibb County. On average, that's an inch of rain. Didn't want to get too soaked, but I'm going to check out the rain gauge here after this weathercast, and I'll bring you the rainfall total that fell here in probably 20 to 30 minutes. I'm eager to see how much rain we've seen. And for those of you that are still seeing the rain, it's coming down in buckets. Look at the radar here. Macon and Bibb County, things are really calming down, but north and west, it's quite a different story. So up north we go. Gray, you're on the edge right now. East of Gray, you're done right now. Right now is the key word. We'll see if anything else develops. Eatonton to Monticello, moderate to heavy rain at times. Northwest Jones County, pretty nasty right now. That's trending over into Forsyth, so a nasty ride up I-75 from, let's say, Arkwright and Tom Hill Sr. all the way north towards Lamar County. Then as you go south and west, Lake Tobosoffke, a thunderstorm just now exiting to your west. It's headed for North Crawford County. Roberta, you're in a lull right now. You had some nasty weather move through there about the last 30 minutes or so. Now it's all in Taylor County. From Butler and Reynolds north is where we're seeing the worst of that thunderstorm, and then another pocket of rough weather from Fort Valley to Marshallville. And again, all of this will trend west, so Reynolds and Butler, more thunder and lightning likely headed in your direction. We go to the southeast too, because this is a nasty broken area of thunderstorms. There's no real organization to it, but we've got a lot of thunder and lightning on the leading edge. And again, this is the leading edge tonight because it's moving to the west. So right now, from let's say Jeffersonville and Danville all the way south to Cochran and Hawkinsville down to Eastman and Milan, things are pretty nasty right now with a lot of thunder and lightning, heavy rain, and the potential for some pea-sized hail. Then on the backside of it, light to moderate rain towards Dublin down to Cadwell and Chester and the Rents area, and then towards McRae and Telfair County, just some spotty showers there. Again, a little backwards today. All of this is moving from the east to the west. So certainly something we're tracking and keeping a close eye on it. The worst right now, again, south and east of Warner Robins and to the west of Macon from Butler to Forsyth is where most of the lightning is tonight. We'll keep a close eye on this. First, though, want to get you your first look ahead. We're not done with the thunderstorm chances. I think in the morning, a lot of sunshine, and tomorrow afternoon, not showing much on the map, similar to today, but storms coming in from the Carolinas could end up influencing us tomorrow evening. So that's a trend we'll have to watch closely. Now, as we go into Friday, storm chances really start to ramp up, and the same goes into Saturday as well, as the influence of high pressure up north begins to relax a little bit. Here's that high pressure ridge. It's taken over much of the nation. Underneath that dome of high pressure, it's hot. Still near 90 in St. Louis tonight, 85 in Louisville, 85 in D.C. Also under that dome of high pressure, an absence of clouds. But notice on the outer edge of that high, that's where the storm chances are, and will remain on that edge tomorrow, so we can't omit a storm chance altogether. That high will relax as we go into the weekend, and that means storm chances go up. There it is on the 7-day, low 90s across the board, couple of storms tomorrow, a better chance Friday, and an increased chance as we go into the weekend and into next week. Notice our Facebook page, the title has changed, WGXA.TV. That's where you need to go and like the page for automated alerts. Fish and game forecast for you. 2 peaks in the good range, 10:20 a.m. and 11:20 tomorrow night. So officially no warnings, but these are still storms that you must seek shelter from because there's a ton of lightning. Dangerous versus severe definition there. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'm going to go check out the rain gauge, and we'll have another update here in about 20 minutes.
All right, sounds good. Well, coming up after the break.
What Georgia's own Governor Nathan Deal has to say about the Stand Your Ground law. But he isn't the only one talking. We asked you what you thought, and we got the results for you. WGXA News at 10 continues next.
Demonstrators took to the streets in Orlando, Florida, protesting George Zimmerman's not guilty verdict. The Zimmerman verdict still prompting nationwide protests, like this one in Orlando, Florida earlier today. Demonstrators are marching to the Orange County Courthouse here. They called for federal charges to be filed against Zimmerman. The former neighborhood watchman was acquitted late Saturday in the shooting death of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. Justice for Trayvon rallies are planned in 100 cities this weekend. The gatherings will be held at federal court buildings at noon on Saturday. A sheriff's office in Florida released more details about the jury in George Zimmerman's second-degree murder case. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Siri is in Orlando, and he has the latest.
The jury finds
more than $30,000 were spent to sequester the jurors during George Zimmerman's murder trial. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office says the jurors' internet use and phone calls were screened and logged by deputies. The 6 women were also allowed to watch some movies, go to a bowling alley, and see 4th of July fireworks. But despite spending about 3 weeks together, 4 of the jurors distanced themselves from a woman known as Juror B37. She had a televised interview on Monday. In a statement, the 4 jurors saying, quote, "The opinions of Juror B37 expressed on the Anderson Cooper show were her own and not in any way representative of the jurors listed below." But they did not specify what parts of her comments they disagreed with. Meanwhile, some civil rights leaders, including the Reverend Al Sharpton, criticizing Florida's Stand Your Ground law at the NAACP convention in Orlando.
There's a law in this state called Stand Your Ground that is the worst violation of civil rights of state law in this country. And until we can overturn Stand Your Ground, we risk other Trayvon Martins.
The White House also weighing in on the issue.
The laws that we see on the books ought to be reviewed and examined with an eye towards whether or not they reduce the problem of gun violence or inadvertently make it worse.
Florida Governor Rick Scott says he has no plans to call a special session to review his state's Stand Your Ground law. In Orlando, Florida, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
Former President Jimmy Carter is weighing in on George Zimmerman's acquittal in the death of Florida teen Trayvon Martin. Take a listen.
I think the jury made the right decision based on the evidence presented, because the prosecution inadvertently set the standard so high that the jury had to be convinced that it was a deliberate act by Zimmerman, that he was not at all defending himself, and so forth. It's not a moral question, it was a legal question.
Now, Carter also said he thinks the verdict will stand because it can't be appealed as a criminal case. And we asked him if he believes it played a role in the way the Zimmerman trial played out. Carter was reluctant to give a direct answer. Zimmerman was found not guilty of second-degree murder and manslaughter on Saturday. The president's top law enforcement officer is not exactly getting a ton of support over his contention that self-defense laws cause more trouble than they prevent.
It's a spinoff from the continuing controversy over the George Zimmerman acquittal, even though the Stand Your Ground law in Florida was not a part of Zimmerman's defense. Fox News White House correspondent Wendell Goler has an update.
A day after the Attorney General called for debate on whether Stand Your Ground laws actually reduce gun violence or contribute to it, White House Press Secretary Jay Carney made clear to reporters the president feels the debates should be held at the state level.
Look at the laws on their books and evaluate them against the standard, which is, are these laws improving or making worse the situation with regards to gun violence?
Regarding George Zimmerman, Mr. Obama says a jury has spoken, and Justice Department officials say civil rights statutes may not apply to a trial that prosecutors said, to some criticism, was not about race. But the death of an unarmed black teenager and the release of his killer is prompting civil rights leaders to call for national outrage.
Going home alone, no weapon, yet he is murdered, and then the victim of a murder is accused of provoking his murder. It's absurd.
And previously scheduled, mostly African-American gatherings are providing a platform. An NAACP convention in Orlando.
Until we can overturn Stand Your Ground, we risk other Trayvon Martins.
Florida Republican Governor Rick Scott said earlier this week his state's already taken another look at Stand Your Ground.
I put together a bipartisan commission, and we went through, they went through and looked at it. And their recommendation is we not make any changes.
The National Rifle Association declared, quote, self-defense is not a concept, it's a fundamental human right. The Congressional Black Caucus met today without issuing a call for civil rights charges against Zimmerman, but the group is asking for a thorough investigation. White House officials say they are not questioning the constitutionality of Stand Your Ground laws. The issue is whether they're effective and whether they have unintended consequences. At the White House, Wendell Goler, Fox News.
Georgia Governor Nathan Deal spoke out today on the Stand Your Ground law, and here's what he had to say.
I do not see anything out of the ordinary in terms of that statute. It is very similar to the statute in other states, including the state of Florida. It would be an issue that would be very emotionally charged.
And that brings us to tonight's web poll results. In our 5 o'clock newscast, we asked you if you think the Stand Your Ground law in Florida and here in Georgia should be repealed. 33% of you say yes, you think it should, while 67% say no, you think the law, Stand Your Ground, is needed.
The cover of Rolling Stone magazine featuring the Survive in Boston Marathon bombing suspects sparks a wave of controversy across the country. Fox News correspondent Molly Line is in Boston with the details.
Dzhokhar Tsarnaev looks more like a rock star on this cover of Rolling Stone magazine than an accused terrorist. The headline of the August issue reads, How a Popular Promising Student Was Failed by His Family, Fell into Radical Islam, and Became a Monster. Many call the magazine's use of the photo disgraceful.
I don't approve of it because it's not true to who he is, at least who we think he is.
You know, if they want to become famous, if they want to make the cover of a national magazine, no problem, kill somebody.
Rolling Stone issuing a statement saying, quote, the cover story we are publishing this week falls within the traditions of journalism and Rolling Stone's long-standing commitment to serious and thoughtful coverage of the most important political and cultural issues of our day. Some people agreeing with the magazine's decision.
Showing him as a human is a good thing, because how could a human do this to other human beings? That's a big question.
Tsarnaev is accused of killing 3 people and injuring more than 260 others at the Boston Marathon. Authorities say he also killed a campus police officer at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. But Tsarnaev pled not guilty to all charges against him. Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick weighing in on the controversy.
I haven't read, but I understand the substance of the article is not objectionable. It's apparently pretty good reporting, but the cover is out of taste, I think.
Some companies, including CVS Pharmacy and Walgreens, have announced that they will not carry the August issue of Rolling Stones in their stores. In Boston, Molly Line, Fox News.
Like father, like daughter. Find out what the daughter of Dick Cheney is doing to follow in her father's footsteps when WGXA News at 10 returns. eldest daughter of a former vice president says she wants to be part of a new generation in Washington. Liz Cheney is running for a Senate seat in Wyoming. Chief political correspondent Carl Cameron has a story.
Liz Cheney, the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, has kicked off a major battle within the GOP in Wyoming with her run for the U.S. Senate, an attempt to oust the state's popular senior senator, three-term incumbent Mike Enzi.
We can no longer afford simply to go along to get along. We can't continue business as usual in Washington.
Cheney launched her campaign with a video after moving to Wyoming, where her family has deep roots, from Virginia last year to plan her run. The 45-year-old former Fox News contributor has spent her life in the public's eye and service as a government official and a pundit. One of the most low-key members of the U.S. Senate, Enzi could be tough to beat. He was sworn in for his current term by none other than former Vice President Dick Cheney. Enzi's been reelected twice in Wyoming with 3/4 of the vote. But Liz Cheney says it's time for new blood with more backbone to stand up to Democrats, implying Enzi has not.
Instead of cutting deals with the president's liberal allies, we should be opposing them every step of the way.
Enzi has traditionally announced his re-election plans much closer to Election Day, but yesterday said, quote, "I intend to run for re-election for Wyoming Senate seat in 2014. When I announce formally, I will let everyone know the date in the future." Enzi told reporters he thought they were friends and that Cheney had said, quote, that if I ran, she wasn't going to run, but obviously that wasn't correct. Enzi has the support of the National Republican Senatorial Committee, which is designed to elect and re-elect GOP incumbents, as well as the backing of Wyoming's other U.S. Senator and only House member, both of whom emphasized Enzi's conservatism and experience.
Mike Enzi has a strong conservative record of fighting for the people of Wyoming, and that's why I support him.
Mike Enzi has really earned his spurs in Wyoming, not to mention putting in 18 solid years in the U.S. Senate. So I'm a solid supporter and friend of his.
The election is 16 months from now, and this is the first time a Republican incumbent has faced a primary challenge in Wyoming in decades. And it could be among the toughest of the 2014 races. In Washington, Carl Cameron, Fox News.
The adopted son of Jerry Sandusky wants a new last name. Matt Sandusky has petitioned the courts to legally change his surname for himself and his wife and children. His adoptive father, Jerry Sandusky, the former Penn State assistant coach, was convicted last year of abusing 10 boys over a 15-year period. He's currently serving 30 to 60 years in prison. When charges against Coach Sandusky first came to light, the son denied he was ever abused by his adoptive father. But later in Sandusky's trial, the son admitted to police that he had also been sexually abused.
And speaking of name changes, former President Bill Clinton now has his own place on Pennsylvania Avenue, the William Jefferson Clinton Federal Building. The Environmental Protection Agency's headquarters officially renamed today in honor of the former president. Clinton delivered remarks at the ceremony. Listen.
The real message of this day is, as has been said before by Senator Boxer and by Carol, you can have a growing economy with more jobs and rising incomes and a sustainable environmental policy. You can protect our precious natural resources, and you can promote the public health, and you can fight climate change. In fact, from now on, that's going to be the only way to have a sustainable economy.
The Clinton administration is credited with creating an office in the EPA to focus on children's health and decreasing soot and smog in the air. The former president also greatly expanded national parks and other protected areas. Clinton brought the agency to the status of cabinet department. Well, sparks fly in a House hearing as lawmakers question administration officials about the secret court that approves government requests for activities like electronic spying.
Congress established the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court in the 70s, but now some members are questioning whether the court has gone too far in light of details leaked by former National Security Agency contractor Edward Snowden.
Fox News correspondent Jennifer Davis has the story from Washington.
Do I have a reasonable expectation of privacy in anything but maybe a letter I hand deliver to my wife in a skiff?
Frustrated lawmakers throw a flurry of questions at administration officials about how the FISA court approves government surveillance requests. 11 judges appointed by the Chief Justice sit on the secret court.
We try very hard to keep in mind both the protection of the national security and the privacy and constitutional rights of Americans.
But many lawmakers argue Congress never expected the government would use the court for the unchecked, widespread collection of millions of American phone records, as recently revealed by NSA leaker Edward Snowden.
You've already violated the law.
as far as I am concerned.
I hope as we move forward as a Congress, we rein in the concept that it's okay to bruise the spirit of the Constitution in the name of national security.
Others say it may be time for Congress to tighten laws governing the secret court.
Section 215 expires at the end of 2015, and unless you realize you've got a problem, that is not going to be renewed.
And some questioned whether the court should be reformed so it's more bipartisan. 10 of the current 11 judges are reportedly Republican.
Do you think there should be some change to make sure that there's possibly an ideological balance on that FISA court?
We try to take partisan politics out of the judicial aspect of it.
Lawmakers also used the hearing to learn more information about Edward Snowden, including the fact that he had a level of security clearance that hundreds of others also have. In Washington, Jennifer Davis, Fox News.
Coming up after the break, we'll check back in with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Cox. Plus, another wildfire spreads across California, and it doesn't look like it's going to be contained anytime soon. That's on the other side of this break. A fast-moving wildfire heating up California's mountain center. Hundreds of firefighters still working to extinguish raging flames in the San Bernardino National Forest tonight as the fire spreads and scorches more than 14,000 acres. Crews also battling dry and windy conditions. The fire is about 10% contained. Mandatory evacuations are underway for dozens of homes in that area. Evacuation centers have been set up at 2 separate high schools. There's also an animal evacuation site at a local animal shelter.
And Tiffany, I suspect they'd like to have some of the rain that the East Coast has had over the last month. And for Central Georgia, what we've had tonight, our rainfall surplus, if you're curious, still over 20 inches for the year. Tonight, the severe weather threat was certainly materialized for the evening and into the overnight hours. Here's our storm reports. Several reports of trees down along this path from Washington County into Baldwin and Wilkinson counties and into Bibb County as well. A lot of traffic on the Bibb County Sheriff's Department's radios about trees down in parts of Bibb County, including the 475 area and also in East Macon along Upper River Road, as we showed you earlier in the show. So be careful out there. And Georgia Power reporting some down lines and some power outages around the region as well. The rain is real heavy in these storms. Notice a lot of blue on the map where these storms have moved through. On average, that's an inch of rain. Here at our studio in downtown Macon, we had 35/100ths of an inch of rain, so a little over a third. But it looks like downtown, generally west of downtown, is where the heaviest of the rain fell from that thunderstorm that moved on through. Still getting a lot of thunderstorm activity tonight. Up north and west of Macon, we've got light to moderate rain at times, especially moderate in Monroe County and in northwest Jones County, also Butts County into Jasper County. But from Eatonton to Gray, you're generally done with the rain for right now. Off to the south and west, what was a nasty thunderstorm in Taylor County has all but fizzled out. But down into Macon County, it's pretty active right now towards Marshallville and Montezuma, so pretty nasty weather there. But I zoom you into just south of Perry. From Perry to Unadilla, this is a monster thunderstorm. A good friend of mine here at the station, Clifford Morey, he's a storm chaser for us and storm spotter for us, and he alerted me that there in Houston County, his lightning detection software showing 70 strikes of lightning per minute. 70 per minute. That's how active this storm is there in South Houston County towards Unadilla. So no warnings on this, but that's a dangerous storm that you've got to seek shelter from. Certainly a significant storm and an inconvenient storm, to say the least, with torrential rain and the small hail and, of course, that lightning as well. But look off to the east here, another nasty storm in South Twiggs County. So from Jeffersonville down to Cochran and down towards Pulaski County and Hawkinsville, this is nasty weather shifting off to the west. So Warner Robins, the base, anything going on at the base, let's get it indoors because this storm is coming in your direction with excessive lightning, the torrential rain, and the potential for some small hail. And then also some storms down towards Eastman and Rhine, although not as widespread at this moment. Let's broaden out, put it into motion. Again, things are flip-flopped today because of our easterly flow thanks to high pressure to our north. So everything coming from the east to the west, and it's this cluster of storms now that we've got to be concerned with. So I would say from Jeffersonville all the way to Hawkinsville, nasty right now, moving to the west. So all of Houston County, it's getting ready to get real bad in a hurry. So from Warner Robins to Perry, now's the time to hunker down. We'll see here north of downtown, That's kind of on the dividing line. So South Bibb County, let's say anywhere from maybe the 1675 split all the way to Hartley Bridge and then on into Houston County, hunker down for that storm, and towards Segundo Road and Twiggs County, going to be pretty nasty in that area as well. We're not done with the rain chances in the forecast. Notice in the morning, our first look ahead showing things really calming down with sunshine, but we're on that edge of that high pressure influence. So we're not seeing the widespread development here, but they're getting the storms up in the Carolinas, and by the evening hours, they rotate on through. So it looks like more of a late evening threat for a few thunderstorms tomorrow. But as we go into Friday and into the weekend, that high pressure ridge up north relaxes a little bit, and that means our storm chance really ramps up. So for Friday and on into the weekend, certainly have the umbrella on standby as our scattered storm threat really starts to ramp back up. So here it is on the 7-day. Again, tomorrow, I think just like today, but the storm chance will start to ramp up a little bit into the evening hours with low 90s, and storm chances really go up for the weekend and early next week. WGXA.TV, go like it on Facebook right now for automated weather alerts. Fish and Game forecast 10:20 a.m. and 11:20. Both of those are in the good range. So again, South Bibb County all the way to Hawkinsville, hunker down now because more strong storms coming in. I'll have another look at the radar coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right. Well, coming up after the break, getting ready for school. It's going to be here before you know it.
And some Central Georgia kids are taking advantage of these summer days by attending a camp. 150 years in the making. WGXA News at 10. We'll be right back. About 100 kids packed the education building at Middle Georgia State College in Macon for Summer Learning Fest. The interactive festival gives elementary students a chance to learn about historical events in a fun way. Today, campers explored World War II, the Lewis and Clark exploration, and the women's suffrage movement. Festival organizers say it offers educational opportunities to kids enjoying their summer break.
They've really seen history come to life, and that's the purpose of the Summer Learning Festival, is to really bring these social studies concepts to life for the students in the elementary setting and really get them excited about social studies.
The one-day event happens every year at Middle Georgia State College in Macon.
Macon organization wants area students to be ready when school resumes in a few weeks, and they want your help too. The Mentors Project is now accepting donations of school supplies. The organization hopes to fill 1,500 bags of supplies by July 26th. It will hand out the bags on a first-come, first-served basis at 3 locations around Bibb County. You can drop off your donations at the Mentors Project headquarters in Macon. It's located on the 2nd floor of the Wells Fargo building on 3rd and Mulberry Street. That's Suite 220. They'll accept any sort of school supplies that you're willing to donate.
Want to have school supplies for children kindergarten through 12th grade, so we need your help. A lot of major retailers have school supplies on sale right now, and if you can pick up crayons, notebook paper, spiral notebooks, folders, glue sticks, scissors, we need all of those things.
Items can be picked up by families on July 26th at Ballard, Hudson, Miller, and Bloomfield Middle Schools. Bags will be handed out at 8:30, but the organization encourages you to show up at least half an hour early to make sure that your student can get a bag. Some Macon kids are attending camp that was more than 150 years in the making. The Cannonball House is hosting its Civil War summer camp. It is a chance to learn about the historic home and museum, the Civil War, and how it affected Southern history and the lives during the Reconstruction.
Well, I think it's important for children of all ages, and including adults as well, to understand their history and the origin of the things that have happened in our past. That way we are less apt to repeat mistakes that we might have made.
Activities in the one-day camp included making United States flags from that time, as well as Confederate flag. The home got its name after getting hit during the Civil War. It operates as a museum year-round and houses several important collections. It's also on the National Register of Historic Places.
Well, a group of young girls is learning how to become royalty. It's all part of a Museum of Aviation's Princess Camp happening this week. 1st and 2nd grade girls are learning more about the Disney princesses. But this year, there's a twist. Princesses have careers.
We imagined that Snow White would have been a wonderful veterinarian. So we're learning about the careers of veterinarians and how difficult it is to know your patients without their patients telling them the symptoms. And today we're doing Princess Ariel, Little Mermaid, and what a great marine biologist she would have.
Tomorrow, campers will be introduced to Sleeping Beauty as an anesthesiologist. Princess Camp is one of 4 summer camps underway at the Museum of Aviation this week. Camps are available for kids pre-K through 8th grade. Up next on WGXA News at 10, a final look at your weather. And this little guy struts his stuff down the red carpet. Find out what sets him apart from all of the other ducks at the Peabody Hotel in Memphis. We'll be right back. Football season doesn't start for another month, but for die-hard fans, it's year-round.
Hootie-hoo!
Carolyn Freeman, also known as the Bird Lady, spends a lot of her time doing charity work such as visiting children's hospitals and nursing homes. But recently she earned a spot into the Professional Football Ultimate Fan Association's Hall of Fame. But now she needs a little help of her own. Freeman is invited to Canton, Ohio next month for the Hall of Fame weekend, but she doesn't have the funds to get there. She says her former sponsors backed out last week.
She said, I got several sets of wings, and if I got to strap them on my back and fly there, I'm going, God willing. Florida, too.
While in Ohio, Freeman will do what she does best, more charity work, including building a house for Habitat for Humanity alongside former U.S. President Jimmy Carter. Freeman is also nominated for the What a Fan Award and wants to attend the convention in Orlando, Florida. She hopes to take Falcons fans from Macon, Forsyth, and Atlanta along with her during her Labor Day weekend event.
Well, from dirty birds to a lucky one, this lucky duck that you're about to see made a star-studded debut at the Peabody Memphis Hotel. And check out Buttercup, who was invited today to join the famed Peabody Ducks March. This 8-month-old is no ordinary duck. Born with a foot deformity, Buttercup gained notoriety after learning how to waddle and swim using a prosthetic foot. Buttercup has been cared for by Feathered Angels Waterfowl Sanctuary. A 3D printer was actually used to mold a webbed foot for Buttercup. Ducks are part of an entertaining tradition at the Peabody Hotel since 1933. The ducks walk to and from the hotel's grand lobby twice each day. Way to go, Buttercup. Yeah. We're getting to be prime duck habitat around here.
I'll tell
rain.
you, things are soaking wet out there, and we've got more rain and more storms ongoing tonight. Let's get you the latest look at the radar as promised. North and west of Macon, it's calming down, but south of Macon, it is rumbling tonight. I'll tell you what, from Jeffersonville to Hawkinsville, west to Montezuma, that line of storms is actually merged right now, and so the lightning count is increasing as this storm line really gets organized. So right now, just in that area, over 7,300 strikes of lightning per hour. In Houston County, it was 70 strikes of lightning per minute. All of that moving to the west. So Warner Robins, the base, all the way to Perry, west to Fort Valley, down to Montezuma. You've got to be hunkering down now because that line is nasty. Also towards Dodge and Telfair County, storms continuing to fire up there. And again, up north of I-75, up north along I-75, north of Macon, it's all moderate rain with lightning fading there. We'll put it into motion. The trend is different tonight. It's all moving west. So again, Warner Robins to Perry to Fort Valley, you're next in line for some really nasty weather. We're still tracking it. Folks can turn it over to our sister station on ABC for the latest information starting at 11 and our Facebook page, WGXA.TV.
All right.
We're tracking it closely.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining us tonight.
We'll see you right back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for WGXA Morning News.
And we'll be back here tomorrow afternoon. That's beginning at 5 p.m. right here on WGXA. See you then.
Good night.
Be safe tonight.